What's happening, Wargamers? Welcome to another Star Wars Shatterpoint Battle Report. Splish splashing our way into the hearts of aquatics everywhere. We finally have Riff Tamson on the table. Yeah, looking forward to that. So, as you heard, I have Alex joining me. And yeah, we have a nice Separatist on Galactic Republic fight going on here for you. Yeah, trying to stay away from like true meta stuff. So I mean, I'm bringing kind of a pairing that might not work. I don't know.
I think it's still a
Mundi's always good. Mundi carries everyone. So yeah, we're gonna go take a look at the teams. But remember, if you like what you see, get the algorithm going. Like, comment, subscribe. Check out Patreon if you want to support the channel monetarily, or go to iwargame.net. Use code AGESPRAN. Let them know we sent you and get one of these great pre-marked maps. Anyway, into the game. All right, look at that. Look at that fine, beady-eyed killer next to a shark.
Famous Star Wars character Riff Tamson is finally here, and I am so excited.
I have no idea if he was in any of the comics, but I think he had like a 3 arc in Clone Wars.
I'm pretty sure he's been in 3 episodes.
Yeah, 3 or 4 episodes is just like
which is enough for his own box, apparently. Yep. 3 characters, 3 episodes. Let's go.
There we go. So yeah, it looks like we got Grievous with B1s in Kalani, and then the Riff box right out of the gates.
We're gonna roll so many attack die. It's gonna be crazy.
What? Why does this appeal to you? I can't imagine why at all.
You know, I'm stepping outside my comfort zone.
Yeah, I know. And on the other side of the table, we have Kit Fisto, who, because he's successfully gone up against Grievous once before. He only traded his Padawan for it.
Yeah.
With Rex and the Wolfpack, and then we got Mundi, Shakti, and the 501st Clone Troopers. So we definitely know what team is being carried here, and yeah, it's Kit Fisto being carried by everyone else. That's what's happening here.
Kit Fisto's fine.
I think Kit Fisto, if he gets one-on-one with Grievous, he might actually do okay.
Oh, absolutely.
Because Fisto's very, very defensive on his Shicho side. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we're gonna see how this goes down. Sorry for the voiceover on this one. Unfortunately, I got to editing and discovered the audio was just very garbled and just would not have made for a good one here. So instead, we will just get some voiceover. So we pull the first struggle. We get the nice cross on Never Tell Me the Odds, which is great because it's going to give both of us 2 objectives right off the bat here. So very equal footing. So Alex gets his first draw and he pulls Grievous, which he immediately reserves, and instead we get Kalani. And this is going to be really nice because it's going to allow him to get those B1s up a little bit further. Now, unfortunately, at this point, the Aqua Droids were just deployed a little bit too far out. He was a little conservative with his deployments, not really accounting for the larger bases that those Aqua Droids have. He probably could have gotten at least one of the Aqua Droids within range 4 in order to take advantage of Kalani's tactical ability here. But from here, he just starts sort of looking over some of his options, whether or not he wants to just advance forward, or if he wants to try some other stuff to maximize his board position. So he decides on doing a take cover here to give give Kalani the hunker token. Just double check some things. See, and at this point we realize he can most likely make it to that central ladder there. Put him up on the top elevation. Put him within 2 of that objective point in the middle, which would give him 3 points off the hop. But before anything else happens, he wants to do He wants to use Kalani's ability here, Tactical Network, just to get one of the Aqua Droids moving up a tiny little bit, just to get some better board position here. So there we go. Gets up, backstops a little bit, make sure he stays on that objective, and then Kalani is just going to move up and finish his activation, taking that central objective there. So moving over to me, we'll start off with Rex, which is fine and dandy for me. Rex is always a nice start. So we'll use Get a Move on Soldier on Rex just to move him up, give him a nice little hunker, and then Rex will just climb up onto the next elevation here, as we'll see in just a second. I'm debating between like defensive maneuvers and all that sort of stuff, and whether or not take cover is worth it. But we opt on doing a climb up there, which will take the objective on the proper elevation. And with an action remaining, I'll be able to take a pot shot into Kalani, and just making sure he's ending within 5 of Kit Fisto there, so I can do a supporting fire dash, just to get into a slightly better position after the attack is made. So we're rolling 7 dice into Kalani, who has 6 dice on the defensive. Rather good roll from Rex. Solid defense roll from Kalani as well, only allowing 3 through. So in this case, Rex, instead of pushing Kalani anywhere because, I'm taking the point regardless, we're just going to end up doing 5 damage and a strain to him. And Rex will just move on up. And at this point, I start considering whether or not a defensive maneuver is worth it. And I opt against it because anything that's really going to threaten Rex is probably going to get into melee with him. So there we go. We get over there, and I score 3 points, giving me an early lead. So back over to the Separatists, and Grievous comes out of reserve, which makes a lot of sense because Rex is right there. So starting off, Grievous is just going to use his tactical ability to get the B1s up just a little bit further here, which will prove rather instrumental in just a moment here. And then Grievous is going to use this ingress point, get on up. Then he will spend a force to scuttle on over to Rex here, stripping that hunker and putting an awful lot of pressure onto Rex. So just kind of tucking him under there. And at this point, he's also able to take advantage of Riptide, adding an extra die to his already considerable attack here. So he's going to be throwing a bunch of dice. Not the most overwhelming of attacks. Rex only blocks 3, but Grievous is still going to do quite a bit of damage here, because he's getting those 2 crits and enough conversions that enough still go through that Rex is really hurting here. And that's going to allow the appetite for destruction to get those B1s to move up and basically finish the job here. Deals enough damage, gets that disarm onto Rex, and then triggers the appetite for destruction, which is allowing the B1s to move on up. And they're going to toss a 6 die attack because of the Kalani's innate ability here, just adding an extra 1. And at this point, I believe Rex only has 2 stamina remaining. So basically needs a great roll on Rex's part. And based on the roll from the B1s, I mean, this is very doable from Rex, getting 4 successes. But as you can see here, it's 3 fails and 2 expertise for a total of 1 block, which is not what Rex needed to see. He needed to block a little bit more than that in order to stop the onslaught. This is also going to give the B1s the ability to put a expose onto Rex, as well as challenge the odds, because supporting units do get to challenge the odds in this particular scenario. So he's spending a bunch of force for it, but it is giving him quite a bit of leeway there. And then on top of all that, he will score 3 more, putting the struggle tracker onto his side of the board here. And if I recall correctly, I think he's supposed to be, I can't remember if he repositions the B1s or not, but it was an option that he had, and I don't recall if he yeah, there we go. He does reposition him, get him up on the second, the elevation there, just to get the extra control. So next up we got Kit Fisto. Again, this is a great option for me. Kit can get onto a point and he can be really hard to shift. So we start off basically by spending the force to sprint forward, and then we climb him on up, getting him engaged with Grievous. Unfortunately, not the B1s, who I would have preferred, but Grievous is a fine target for it. And yeah, we get ready to lay into him with the hopes of doing something good with Kit Fisto here. It's really just a decision between Shicho or Ataru on this point, just on trying to figure out what the best choice is. So we get the choice made, we toss our dice, and we are on Ataru for the 9 dice, and you can see here I got 4 fails, which is not what you want to see, which means Grievous's 2 blocks goes a lot farther than it would normally do for me, and I'm just going to get 3 crits through, which in this case I go very light on it. I can't really do a whole lot. I believe it just ends up being I want to say it's like 2 damage and a shove or something like that. I can't recall exactly. There might be some. I can't remember. But basically, in this particular case, we're just displacing Grievous a little bit. We're just able to kind of shove him right down there, as we usually do. We don't count the ladders for blocking sort of movement. They are simply there, so Grievous does have a path to get pushed down. I'm not able to take the point back from Grievous and the droids, unfortunately, because Rex is taking a nap here, but it is enough for me to get Kit Fisto up a little bit. Now the downside here is that I'm not in Shicho at this point, which is where I'd really like to be. Get that automatic expertise at the end of everything. Get that steadfast. It was not to be, so instead I'll have protection and immunity pin, which it's not bad. But when I really need somebody on the point, that's what kind of happens there. And then Grievous just uses some of his movement that he got from his expertise to just get back up on that second elevation there. So moving back over, you can see I scored 2 points, and then he gets the B1s, which honestly at this point are not a bad draw for him. So he's just going to get them up within range 4 of Kit Fisto here, and that way he can take advantage of the combat AI protocols. Because the B1s, when they're able to do that, when they're able to take advantage of Riptide dice, when they're able to take advantage of the concentrate firepower from Kalani, they are throwing a whole lot of dice, and if they happen to get far on their tree, they can actually do quite a bit of damage with that 5th marker, counting out at 3 damage here. So both of them are going to go into Kit Fisto here. They both end within 4, so they're going to be able to get that combat AI protocols. Kit is rolling a decent amount of defense dice here, but you can see that just getting overwhelmed by the B1s here. And even with protection, Kit still ends up taking, I believe it's 4 points of damage off that first attack there. I can't remember if there's any conditions. We'll see those in a second if any of them were present. But it's a rough start for Kit Fisto, who is supposed to be a lot more defensive and really sticky. Now, thankfully, the push option that he had available to him is not enough to get Kit off the elevation there. Nor does he really want to push Kit away because it would take him out of that 4. But you can see there we do get that the expose applied to Kit, which is just going to make the next defensive roll that much worse for Mr. Fisto here. And the B1's just absolutely jank that roll, basically getting a full tree, which is I believe it's 8 damage. So even after protection, it's still dealing a total of 7, which gets by every bit of protection that Kit Fisto had here. So for those keeping track at home, basically he's had 3 activations, and he's taken out 2 of my guys in the process, just with some absolute fire rolls here. And just moving Kit Fisto back for when he does wake up. He's not going to be in as good a position there. So right off the hop, the Separatist attrition is really going hard. He reapplies that expose, which again really frustrating to deal with. Kit was supposed to be my really sticky objective holder there, but instead he just got absolutely shanked. And then of course he's going to trigger Riff's Blood in the Water to just move him, just jump him up. Won't be able to make an attack with him because obviously nobody is within range. but it is going to push the tracker 3 in his favor. And he does challenge the odds again. Because obviously, supporting unit, why not get that extra bit of struggle tracker movement? Because that's going to put it on 0, and then 3 more is really going to push it his way. For a brief second, I forget how that works there. But yeah, so like very, very commanding lead. So over onto my side, and we get Shakti being pulled. And this is a decent pull for me here, because I'm going to be able to get Mundi up a little bit here. In retrospect, I kind of think I probably should have gotten some clones moved up just to take advantage of those coordinated fires a little bit more. But, you know, we work with what we got. And then Shakti just moves on up there with her tactical ability. And then she ends up just running up to hit that ingress point there. And this is another situation where I probably didn't do the best movement blocking here, and you will find out why in a little bit here. And unfortunately, I'm not able to get the. I don't think I'm able to get the. No, I'm not able to get the coordinated fire going here. So we just go after the B1s with a pretty solid attack roll here. The B1s are only blocking 2, and yeah, I'm able to get a couple good attacks through here, which is definitely in my favor. But the B1s do have protection, so I'm not able to put on as much damage as I would like to these guys. But Shakti has a really solid starting activation here. But then again, Shakti is almost always a good activation. She almost always has things that she can do, which really allow her to manipulate the board state a little bit. And then we just toss in. Yeah, so at this point, we spend the force. We spend 1 force because somebody is wounded. And we just do a major force repulse here. Just getting everyone separated. And this is what makes Shakti so much fun here. So just everyone kind of gets knocked away there. And then with Rex, we just kind of push him into the crates to make sure he doesn't really go much places. We end. I take 3 points. We end on 0, and give everyone a little bit of momentum here. Now the big thing is I have yet to take somebody out, which is really slowing me down. So Alex then counters with the Shatterpoint card with quite a bit of deliberation, and he ends up deciding on Kalani. Now in this particular case, I think Grievous might have been the better option. But he wants to take advantage of Kalani. He wants to use the tactical network. He wants to use his tactics ability to move some guys up. All but one of the B1s are within range of his tactic ability here. So he's just going to start repositioning some guys. And, you know, first things first, he's able to get this B1 back up on the same elevation by hitting that ingress point. Just getting really sticky there. And then the Aqua Droid here is just going to basically hide underneath the gantry. Not quite enough to get up there, it looks like. No, not quite enough. And then the other Aqua Droid is going to finally start getting up there. But as you can see, he's basically just positioning his forces here, trying to make the most of it. And you'll see over the course of the game, the center point ends up being quite a bit of a scrum here. So then we have... Oh, is he tactical networking here? Can't remember just what's up at the moment. Yeah, he's checking some stuff here. And we got, what attack is this? Oh, the joys of doing voiceover work after the fact. So Kalani goes into Shakti with some Riptide and his own ability here to add extra dice, and just absolutely punks Shakti, like only blocking 2, and he's still basically getting the full tree through on it, which basically it brings another person down. Yeah, I believe he takes Shakti down with this one, which. Unfortunately, is not what I want to see. Like my defense is not really showing up at this stage of the game. Too many attacks are dealing just boatloads of damage to me. Even without really solid expertise on his part. He's still pushing a lot of damage through, and he's really making a lot of my future decisions very expensive. Even though I got a lot of force to deal with, to work with in this game, it is not great here. So just figuring out what he's up to here, and decides to just shove Shakti off the point and follow up with Kalani just to get a wee bit closer. And then with a little bit of extra movement that he is able to get up on that elevation. Because he got to reposition as part of his tree there, and just continues to push Shakti back a little bit more, and then shoves himself down, or follows up down onto the point as well. So just an explosive start for the Separatists in this game. And then here comes the tactical network. We're just checking some distances here, and the Aqua Droid has range on Kieti Mundi, but first he's going to get him up on that correct elevation as well. Once again, the center point just being a huge focal point for the battle that we're basically fighting here. And then he is basically just going to toss a 6-die attack from the Aqua Droid into Mundi here, who will use his enhanced reflexes, and successfully gets 3 damage through, which is really good, and only takes 2 damage for his troubles. Doesn't really get hurt all that much, which, thankfully it's a little bit of luck finally kind of churning the way of the Republic here, with Mundi doing a good block and dealing a bunch of damage in return, but it does shove him back, just making it a little bit more difficult for him to get into the fight and get where he is needed most. But he does get some momentum for that. Takes 3 points, and the struggle is looking very, very much in favor of the Separatists. So we get the Shatterpoint card, and we immediately shuffle it back in to get the Wolfpack here. So the Wolfpack starts by doing a run and gun to just dash forward and get that focus. And then this is one where it almost did not pay off for me here, but the two of them end up climbing up onto this next elevation here, just to get into a better place here. And I've knocked Kit Fisto around a little bit, unfortunately, so he doesn't quite get into the correct placing. I thought I knocked him back, so he gets nudged a little bit there. But we are now in a position where we can start doing some attacks, and we take advantage of Wolfpack and everything like that, and get a whole bunch of dice, and with a great amount of successes there. So 6 successes for 3 to kind of finish everything off. And I think, oh sorry, that one wasn't the Wolfpack. That one was just a shoot action from the Wolfpack guy in the back there, because I want to get him closer so I can take advantage of Wolfpack. In this particular instance, I just have a whole bunch there. So we shoot the droids. Unfortunately, there's nowhere to push them because of the way they're angled with the B1s there. But there is enough space for the Wolfpack member to get up and bump into his buddy there. And we do apply a strain onto the B1s as well as a pin, which is really solid for me. And we did take advantage of, was that the supporting fire dash? I believe that was supporting fire dash. Meanwhile, the other Wolfpack member is within melee range of a Kalani, which allows me to just kind of keep beating on him a little bit. So this will allow me to throw a focused Wolfpack attack for 9 dice, if I'm remembering correctly here. And Kalani is not blocking much of it at all. And a great attack from the Wolfpack. Now, unfortunately, in order to take Kalani down, I need to be able to do 5 points of damage to him. And the Wolfpack, unfortunately, caps out at 4 with some conditions. But I am able to displace Kalani, which is great for me because it means I'm going to take the point back. So we do push number 1 and then push number 2. And one of many ladder shoves there. That thing keeps getting knocked around here. And And then because I'm no longer in, yeah, we also apply the pin and the strain there, and then we use the climb that we were given just to kind of wander over, and just have two bodies on this point. Now this is where the positioning kind of bites me a little bit. I score 3. We end on 0, and at this point it's going to be difficult for the Separatists to not take this struggle with how we've just been trading back and forth at this stage. So back over to Alex, and he draws Riff Tamson, who is exactly who I did not want to see here, because Riff is able to just do some awful things. So Riff is basically judging his options here. He's just going to run forward before spending a force to use his ability that will allow him to jump and just cause 2 damage. Now you can see here, this is where the positioning kind of got me. If I had just gone a little bit further up with the Wolfpack, I could have prevented Riff from actually getting on that elevation, and this would have been a moot point. Instead, what's going to happen is Riff is going to attack me with his big ol' attack here. He's going to Riptide for with 2 additional dice. I think, is there a focus? No, I don't believe there's a focus here. But he's going to be throwing a lot of dice at me. Then he's adding in dice for wounded units as well. So 3 more dice plus 2 from Riptide. So he's tossing, I think it's 11 dice. Now this is where I get a big break. Like you can see here, Alex is pulling out all the fails for only 2 successes and an expertise, which only results in 1 crit going through, I believe it was, which is a massive, massive break for me. It's what I needed to see here, because it is actually allowing me to hold on to the center point. I am getting strained, but I hold on to the center point. It keeps him from scoring 3 points, which is actually a really big deal. Now he does get a recover, which helps out the B1s a little bit. He only scores 2, which keeps the struggle going. And I immediately pull into the 501st, which is great for me. So we start off with a defensive maneuvers, because at this point I got force to spare. I haven't really been spending a whole lot. So we're just going to get up there, readjust Caddy after I hit his lightsaber there. And this is where another interesting break of luck happens for me here, because I'm looking at the B1s, who I believe at this point only have 2 stamina remaining. And it is still challenging the odds for supporting units for the struggle. So we're taking a look at everything here. I'm checking my supporting fire dash, because I want to try and be able to get into better positions here. So we start off going into the B1s. Now they do have protection because they are on an active objective, so I need to get a pretty solid attack through here. Now thankfully the 501st do have a much better attack tree after the May update here. So basically it's possible. It's not horribly likely, but it is possible. But as you can see, Alex gets no successes because 1 expertise results in a 0 defensive roll, which does allow the 501st to absolutely push through the amount of damage that they need, as well as a whole bunch of conditions onto the 212, or sorry, onto the B1s here. So huge break for me on this front right here. Just checking some distances here. Unfortunately, because there was a recover in the tree that just doesn't actually do anything for this particular situation. But not only do I get a momentum, but I challenge the odds for that on top of it all. And, things really kind of break in my way a bit. And then on top of that, we have a reposition and the supporting fire dash. So there we go. So I think instead of the supporting fire dash, I think we just do the reposition instead. Because I believe with the supporting fire dash, it's after the attack is resolved, I believe. It's not when targeting. So hopefully I got this particular one right here. Which leaves the other 501st in a situation where, what's going on here. So we just decided to do a pot shot into the Aqua Droids, and you can see Alex gets another atrocious roll here. Only blocking 1. 501st just pushing through the damage. Just absolutely doing some disgusting things here. And I think I rolled 1 too many dice there. Oh no, because they did defensive maneuver, focused, then shot. That's what it was. Okay, so no, they were rolling the right amount of dice, but just absolutely able to push enough through, and which conveniently I'm able to push through 6 points of damage onto an Aqua Droid that only has 5 health remaining here, and so that even with protection, I'm able to push it through, which I was not expecting to do here. So, and that's on top of a pin and a strain. And then because I got so far down the tree, it also allows me to basically put my 501st wherever I need him. I get another momentum. Now, unfortunately, I can't challenge the odds again because that is a once per turn. But this was a massive swing for me because I then score 3 points, putting it over on my side and making it very difficult for the Separatists to come back and win this struggle without getting a bunch of work done here. And you'll catch that. Unfortunately, we missed the clip of it, but we do the wisdom of the council to get some of the things adjusted on there. We just miss it on camera. So anyway, Nasirai pops up here, and this is probably the activation he did not want to see here, because Nasirai doesn't really have huge damage output. He is able to move units, but unfortunately, most of the characters he can move are not able to steal a point. So he decides to basically move himself just to get him up there. And I believe all he really does here, I think he just makes a Riptide attack into the Wolfpack here, and a lot of expertise, a lot of fails. So it's not the greatest attack, but he is chipping down the Wolfpack. So you can see there he's got 6 successes, and I've yet to roll my dice. Now I get really lucky. I block 3 and get a 4th on the expertise, which basically just means only 2 successes are going through here, which again, really lucky break. The Wolfpack here end up putting up quite a bit of a fight. He does throw a disarm onto them, which kind of annoying for when they wake up, but or when they get to activate again. But it's one of those things where the dice are kind of turning around at this point, really giving me a lot more to work with here. So whereas those first few activations really hit me extremely hard, the Wolfpack thankfully were kind of the turning point for me when Riff failed to take them down. Because if Riff had taken them down, it basically would have been the struggle right there. But instead, we're now in a position where we end on 0, we both get some momentum, and the struggle is basically mine. Like, there's no way I can lose it at this point. And I'm able to go into Mundi, meaning that the Shatterpoint is the last card in my deck, which allows me to start off the second struggle very strongly. So Mundi, yeah, so as you can see here, we have the adjustments in there. So Mundi's just going to move Shakti back. He's just going to move over, hit this ingress point. And then all we're going to do is just attempt a little bit of condition stacking. He's going to run over, hit this Aqua Droid. They're already down, but in this case, like, I'm just looking to maybe displace him a little bit here. So we're just checking to see if I can't throw any extra conditions on there. Not that it really matters. The big thing is like I want to be able to, like, maybe push or stack some conditions and then basically just roll back onto the point here. So I mean, decent block from the Aqua Droids there. Decent hit from Mundi. Not amazing, but it is enough to, I believe, get at least a shove through onto them. And I want to say there's a condition that gets stuck on there as well. Yeah, there is the condition. We get the disarm on the Aquas as well. And then the reposition was also pretty early on. So we just get back there and we just stick onto that point just in case it ends up being the active one next round. But that does basically bring us to the end of the first struggle. Somehow the Republic was able to pull it back here through some lucky rolls from the Wolfpack and the 501st, and a very unlucky roll from Riff Tamson. Moving into Struggle 2, we take a look at what it is. And so one of the points going active is where I put Mundi there. So there is actually a bit of a discussion going on as to how Alex wants to position everything. And for a brief while, he is considering the bottom one there, which would put Mundi on a point there. A lot of his forces are concentrated over there. But he's basically weighing how much he wants to actually have to fight for something. And Mundi is in a great position to just kind of whittle enemies down with his force enhanced reflexes. So, weighing the pros and cons a little bit. In the end, though, he does decide that he would rather not give me a bunch of objectives early on, because it's going to be the 2 points in the middle regardless. So instead of giving me one right off the hop that he has to fight for, I think two, because I think the Wolfpack are within range two of both. He ends up opting for the one closest to him, and turns the point on the other side of the mech bay. So yeah, so there we go. The decision has been made, and we make all the necessary adjustments. He checks the priority, and it is this point that the Wolfpack is currently holding, and he is basically at the end of his deck, which is the Aqua Droid. So they're gonna wake up. They're gonna get rid of that strain. And then they're going to attempt to down. I believe they just do. Yeah, they do their not their tactics dash. They just do a basic movement. One Aqua Droid is going to climb up there. We check to see if it's a valid position. Unfortunately, it's not. We even tried to finagle a little bit to try and make it a valid position, but it's just over a lip. So we just kind of let them take that back a little bit there, because we're not playing sweaty here. But I mean, in any other sort of thing, like you have to kind of live with the decision there. But we just kind of give Alex the option to go back there. So he's just checking a couple extra ranges. Unfortunately, he's not able to get past Kalani there, just because of that big old base. Everything's kind of body blocking. Once again, it's because of that massive fight in the middle. He really wants to get there. So instead, he goes around the long way, hits that ingress point. He still gets up on the correct elevation to take that objective point. And he puts both the Aqua Droids in a great place to just rain fire down on the Wolfpack here. Now, with this particular scenario or struggle, we are still on supporting units being able to challenge the odds. So great start from the Aqua Droids there, and only blocking two. And the Wolfpack, I think at this point they finally punched their ticket. I don't think they had anything left in them. But yeah, he's able to just get the Aqua Droid just a little bit closer up. Yeah, there we go. So he punches the ticket on the Wolfpack there, wounds them. I believe. Does he challenge odds? I can't remember if he's actually on a force at this point. He might actually be on a force and unable to challenge the odds, which is why I think he didn't do his dash focus. So just checking a couple of things there. Yeah, he's on a force. So now we have the Riptide attack, and this one is going into the 501st. Just really trying to do some harm to me here, and as you can see, I block 3, I believe it is. It's not enough to take the 501st down, and unfortunately the Aqua Droids do roll a fair few amount of failures, which again really slows them down. But this does allow Riff to do his blood in the water, so he just jumps over, gets onto the correct elevation to take that objective away from the Wolfpack, who, I mean, they're down now, so it doesn't really matter. But he ends up scoring 3 points. So we go to me, and Riff Tamson's point is the important one, and we pull the Shatterpoint card. So we immediately activate. I believe this is Shakti. Yeah, we get the Shakti tactics ability to move the 501st up. Then she just uses her jump to finagle into an interesting position here. And this is probably one of my favorite moves of the game here, because what she does, she gets up close enough to the ladder to use the ingress point, which allows her to get on the same elevation here. And we're going for something very bold. We're basically going to try and take both points in this one activation here. So yeah, we start off by basically punching the Aqua Droids in the face here. So we throw a 7-die attack, and a couple fails. So only a couple go through, which it's not bad. It's not bad. I can't be upset with that. I think I deal maybe 4 damage. Now, the unfortunate thing here is, as much as I want to push them as part of this, any shove would put them outside of range 2 of the Force Repulse. So instead, we're just going to Force Repulse. My original hope was to actually knock him off the elevation, but unfortunately Grievous is blocking the landing site there, which is really, really unfortunate, which also means that the Aqua Droid does stay on the correct elevation here. So I don't actually take it back from him. But as a result, though, we have a whole bunch of repulses happening here. And we basically are just rearranging the Separatist board with this. So yeah, we get him down. Alex points out that I could actually throw him on the lower elevation, which, clearly I do. But yeah, Force Repulse is hugely beneficial here. We're able to get the B1s off the point. And then as far as like the... and then I think like Nasserai and... or no, at the very least, Kalani gets pushed back. One of the Wolfpack gets pushed. Rex gets pushed. Yeah, so like as you can see, like again, just massive rearranging of the board here. And unfortunately, so much is going on here. Things are getting knocked and shoved, and it's not the cleanest of things, unfortunately. But once again, it's when you can rearrange the board like that, it is a huge thing. At one point, I do look into like the supporting fire dash if I really wanted to on this one, but I realized can't do it because it would have put me out of range of things. It allows me to take 2 points and get some momentum for it not ending on my side there. And that Aqua Droid was really pivotal. I wasn't able to get him off the point, which ended up being very instrumental here. Slowing me down, and it was a win for Alex here. Like he kind of needed that. Yeah, so here you can see I can attempt. I look into the supporting fire dash, and then I realize no, can't do that because I needed to be able to Force Repulse, and if I did that, I wouldn't be in the right position to do everything. So we just because we already did the Force Repulse, we just keep her there. So anyway, we go back to the priority point, and it's back to the point that the 501st just took, and we got the B1s being pulled here. And it's a good activation for the B1s. It's a good time for them to wake up, strip a condition, and start getting some work done here. So checking to see if Eve is engaged with Mundi, which he is not. And just kind of taking a look around and seeing what all the options available are. And we basically just start off with some attacks here, I believe. Because I think he's within range to do a lot of stuff here. So yeah, we have an attack coming in. Looks like it's the Riptide attack, and a lot of expertise here. Like just an absolute boatload of expertise, which not amazing for the B1s, but at least it's better than fails. But basically just shooting into Shakti here, just trying to cause some more damage and just slow her down a little bit more, because she's had some very instrumental things here. And at this point, we're also remembering that there was a pin happening here. So that reposition that he got off the attack tree does not actually take place. So, but because he did not focus, he still will have a movement action after this. So he's able to just kind of reset a little bit. Meanwhile, these B1s are just going to unload into the 501st. Yeah, we get rid of that hunker that should have been stripped a little while ago. And a great attack from the B1s into the 501st, which I believe it's able to mostly get the tree down. Most of the tree, anyway. But just hammer into the 501st, who's already been wounded at this point. Or not wounded, but they have been hurt already at this point. And I believe the B1s are able to... I think they're able to finish the job here. And even if they're not, like Riff Tamson is going to have his blood in the water trigger in a moment. But anyway, getting the B1s to reposition over to take the priority point there, and shoving the 501st back, because why not? So at this point, Alex is just looking at his options for Riff Tamson and what he wants to do and where he wants to go with him. So just gonna basically reposition him in such a way, not reposition, but rather use that jump to stay within melee of the 501st, but also taking that point, securing him the priority point quite handedly, tossing another attack down, and because he smells blood, he is adding a bunch of dice for wounded units kicking around there. 501st only blocking one because of expose, and yeah, just absolutely getting pasted at this point. So thankfully, no challenging the odds on this one. But Riff just absolutely tears through the 501st, just eliminating them at this particular juncture, and still leaving the B1s with an action that they are able to take advantage of, which will be important with the other B1 that attempted to move earlier. So very, very solid B1 activation just in general. Riff also reapplies some conditions, and just continues to shove the 501st back. And this is where the 501st is going to live for a little while at this juncture. And then Riff had some movement on his attack tree and just gets into a better position. And then these B1s will use their move action to basically just climb over and take that point over there, allowing them to score out the board, but not quite end the struggle just yet. So moving back over, that is the Aqua Droid's point that becomes active, and we get Shakti, who I immediately toss into reserve here. Instead, we get Mr. Kit Fisto, who wakes up and immediately does, I can't remember if it's a sprint or, I believe I want to say this is a sprint that he does over here, just to get within range and just toss a whole bunch of dice into the aquas here. And once again, whole bunch of fails, but thankfully only blocking 2 on his end there. And now thankfully my particular stance is 2 crits and a strike that go through. So I get 3 through on this one. Which is big for me, because I think, is that enough to? I want to say that's enough to take the aquas out there, but I don't quite remember. It is, however, enough to shove them off the point. Yeah, so down he goes. Just trying to make him fit down there, and we'll follow up once. And just keep pushing him along there. And Kit Fisto successfully takes the priority point there, giving me 2, which, I mean, yeah, it's a big deal. It allows me to kind of move around a little bit, which I definitely need to slow the Separatists down in this particular struggle, because they came right out of the gate strong, and it looks like we do trigger the Wisdom of the Council here. So just taking a look at who can do what. So I'm kind of weighing all my options on who I want to have move around. And at this point, I think I probably should have recovered on Shakti, who is currently sitting at 4 damage. Instead, we go with Mundi, who's been able to remove all the damage on him at this point in the game. We score 2, we get some momentum, and it's one of those situations where the right priority roll will just give Alex the struggle at this particular point. He's in a great position for it, and with the top of his deck, he's got lots of options. So right here, you can see his priority point is the one he needs. He grabs the Shatterpoint card, And he basically goes with Grievous, I believe it is. So yeah, he goes with Grievous. He moves the Aqua Droid, who is wounded, just to get rid of that. I don't know why Alex decided to do this particular one. I think there's a lot of other individuals that probably would have benefited from the move more. Maybe it was just it was probably a range thing. The Aquas were probably the only ones within range. And then Grievous scuttles on up to basically have words with Shakti and Kit Fisto here. And he is going to basically punish Shakti by doing a Riptide focused attack into Shakti for I want to say 11 dice is what he's doing here. He's got the big swing coming in and just absolutely bodies Shakti here, especially with not the greatest of defense rolls. Well, actually, you know what? No, it is a good defense roll. I'm blocking 3 here, but at this stage, Grievous, I believe, only needed 2 successes to do the job, and instead, gets a total of 5. So just absolutely bodies Shakti, which is also going to allow for a couple other fun things to happen here. So yeah, he's just checking out some ranges here because he wants to, because I believe he got to recover on his tree as well. So just helping out Kalani a little bit, getting rid of that pin, and then just seeing some other things. So there is going to be I've been trained in your Jedi arts. I believe that happens here, just to punch a couple damage onto Kit Fisto. And he's basically just kind of deciding the best course of action on how to deal with Shakti here. So he also gets some recovers because obviously he triggers his identity, recovers some force, um, gets rid of that expose that was haunting him, as well as some of the damage. Even though not a lot of damage has been put onto Grievous this particular game, he just really hasn't been a tempting target for me, having wanted to actually chew through that stamina pool. Uh, and then he does trigger the appetite for destruction, just to move the Aqua Droid up into a better position, even though he's knocked out. Gets the Aqua Droid moved up a little bit, and just tosses an attack into Shakti, just to add a little bit of extra insult to injury here. And this is unfortunate because Shakti was in reserve, already having been wounded once. So it's unfortunately at this point she only gets one more activation this game. But this is also going to cap out the struggle at this point for the Separatists. Moving into the final struggle, we top deck that one and got a couple interesting options here. End up going for the one closest to me, and that is going to be the 501st. Assuming they wake up here with a Kiadi Mundi going first. And what he's going to do is he's going to use his tactics ability, and he's just going to move Kit Fisto down there, which is going to allow Kit to take that back point, which ends up being kind of instrumental for me here, because it allows me to score two objectives this particular activation, and then using his tactics, he is going to get over onto the other side of the gantry here. And at this point, I start looking at a bunch of different options here. The first one being like, how can I rearrange the board as best as humanly possible? Because I do have that force push available. I have a whole bunch of shoves on my attack tree and everything like that. So first things first, we get Riff Tamson out of there. We just yeet him back with a force push. And then we basically start looking at what our options here. And he's got a reposition on 1. So the question becomes, like, do I try to get greedy and get to where I'm going with a whole bunch of shoves on the B1s here? Because the thing I'm really trying to do is I want to try and get them off this point as well. uh, before anything happens. That way he's not starting with a score right off there. So we do a punch into him. He blocks nothing. I get a pretty good attack here. It's not quite enough to do the full tree. Whereas if I had been able to do the full tree, it wouldn't have been a problem. The B1s would have gone down. I would have been able to challenge the odds. Everything would have been super here. But now it results in a lot of figuring out what I am planning on doing here. In the end, we just opt to do a reposition, um, and then we do a couple shoves from that stage on here. And this is where things actually kind of work out for me, because the B ones were in such a position that it wasn't actually difficult to move them off the point with a couple shoves here. So I think the first one is actually enough to take them off the point, if I'm recalling correctly here. Which, yeah, it's enough to take him off the point, which allows me to, instead of doing another shove, I'm able to put a strain onto them, which deals an extra point of damage. I think in the end I pushed through something like 7 points of damage onto the B ones. Again, not quite enough to take them down. I needed to get 9 to get through there, which I think was at least 1 or 2 more successes to do it. But it was still really excellent for Mundi. It was able to basically knock Alex off the point, condition stack the B1s, take 2 points myself, and really put myself in a nice commanding position at the start of this struggle, which very difficult for somebody to come back from. So we end up scoring 3, and we move over to Alex. So the priority point gets pulled, and that's going to be where Kit Fisto is currently standing. And Riff Tamson is the pull here. Now, thankfully, between his jump and his movement, he does have the ability to get to where he needs to be. And even though I backstopped Mundi here, he has enough movement that he's able to get a good angle on Kit Fisto, or on Mundi. Now, having said that, I mean, with the right dice roll, he can just go hard into Mundi anyway, and maybe potentially take him out, because he's going to be able to get, a Riptide attack in here. He's going to be able to add 2 damage right off the hop with his attack. So there he goes. Gets a great angle. Gets within melee. It's going to be adding 2 damage to the next attack that's going into Mundi here, and just absolutely gearing up to take this back priority point here, which again would be excellent for him, because it will give him the priority, scoring him 2 points, which he really needs at this point, because Riff unfortunately is not able to move any of his allies around. So the more points he can score here, the better. Just checking a couple of ranges here, see what's happening. And now, thankfully, I have Mundi on a very good stance here. I'm rolling 6 dice. Also going to use the Force Enhanced Reflexes, so I am dealing 3 damage into him. But as you can see there, nothing but expertise and fails, and 1 success, which is not great. So we only end up blocking 3, which could have been better. The big thing is that it did give Riff the pushes that he needs to knock Mundi off the point, and I believe leave him on 2 stamina, which was just adding icing to the cake for him, just giving him a lot to work with. So just trying to get the right angle on there without busting up the board state. So there we go. The first shove happens, and Alex just has me getting the positioning done, just because I have the better angle on everything here. And of course, Riff also has a jump as part of his attack tree here, so he's going to be able to get to go to wherever he really needs to, and get some really nice angles on pushing Kit away here. So there we go. So Riff Tamson finishes his activation, scores 2 points for the primary objective, which is really useful for him there, and puts Riff in a great place. It's going to be very difficult to shift him off, because I believe at this point Riff has no damage on him. Well, he's got the 3 damage from his from the force enhanced reflexes, but that is it. And Mundi is stacked with a strain and an expose, which is not great for him. And of course, he then scores 2 and gets some momentum, and we move on. So that point goes back to Kit Fisto's point, and we end up with the Shatterpoint card. So at this point, we are going to get Kit Fisto to move, and he's going to actually wander over to deal with Kalani here, because there's a chance for me to score 2 points and challenge the odds, and Kalani is a very easy target. So basically, what we're doing is we're doing I believe it's a force speed to get over there. And just do an attack into Kalani, and I believe it's it's more than enough to get what I need. I think it also gives me some movement on this as well. I don't exactly recall, but it is enough to take Kalani down, which allows me to also challenge the odds, which gives me a nice scoring boost here. And then we're able to, because on top of that, shove them away. But it's also going to trigger the wisdom of the council here. Get 3 shoves on Kalani, which is just absolutely rude. And we're just going to, yeah, it looks like we got the reposition here. So reposition, and then he has his other action to climb up there. And before we forget, we do have to do the Wisdom of the Council, which I do believe is it just goes over to Mundi to get rid of his strain, and to dash him back onto the point, to just fight Riff Tamson over it. Yeah, I think I was just checking to see if there was any possibility of getting Shakti into a better position there as well, but so we end up scoring 3 points, and we challenge the odds. Yeah, there's the Wisdom of the Council right there. So the Wisdom of the Council just ends up moving him back there, getting rid of the strain. Still exposed, but he's at least now sitting on the point, and he's threatening things. So once again, it goes back to the point that Kit Fisto was just standing on, and we got Nosserai, and this is a really simple activation for him. He's, unfortunately, we take a look at the distances, and a single advance is not enough to get him there. So he uses this tactics on himself. He gets up there. He ends up taking a pot shot into Kit Fisto here. With I believe it's a Riptide. I don't see why it wouldn't be a Riptide shot, because there's a couple of quad. Yeah. So there we go. Unfortunately, it's not the greatest of rolls there, and Kit Fisto just adding, because at this point he's back into Shicho. He's going to add another expertise to this as well. So he's going to block 3, or he's going to block 4. Sorry, he's also going to get a jump as part of it all. So I think only one crit goes through, which is enough to put a damage and a disarm onto him. So at this point, he's taken 3. He is disarmed. So he's slowly getting whittled down there. But it does leave Nosserai with one more action to just get down there, take the priority point, and score 3, but not enough to get that extra point of momentum. So once again, it's Nosserai's point, and we get Rex. And Rex is just going to use his get a move on soldier on himself, just to get up there. Unfortunately, he is still engaged, so that hunker goes away immediately. And then he's just going to keep running up, and we're just going to pick on Nosserai here. just by throwing a nice 7-die attack into him. Just looking for 2 successes to shove him away. And Nosarai gets a great defense roll. He blocks 4 of it. And thankfully, the 1 expertise on Rex is 2 successes, which means the 4 strikes that I rolled get blocked, but the 2 from the expertise get pushed through, which is enough to push him off the point and to push Rex onto it, which was exactly what he needed there. And that allows me to once again score 3 points, keeping the struggle firmly on my side of the tracker here. So, and then once again, Rex's point, and we get Kalani. And Kalani's not in a great place. He's disarmed. He's way out of position here. He's not getting anyone with his tactics ability, so he ends up just... He checks everything. I believe he puts Kalani into reserve here. Yeah, he puts Kalani into reserve. And instead, the Aquas are going to have their final activation of the game at this point. But the Aquas are in a place to do some good work here. So one Aqua is going to use his force ability to wander over there, get a focus, and this Aqua is just going to wander under the bridge. There we go. And just a short dash and a focus. And because there's been some Jedi going down, he's been able to refresh some good force, and Riff has been able to refresh some force. And then the other movement. So one Aqua is going to go after Rex, one Aqua is going to go after Mundi, and not a whole lot that can be done about that. And in this particular instance, like Force Enhanced Reflex really doesn't mean anything against these guys because they're going off the table at the end of this. The big thing is he just wants to use the big attacks just to get some momentum and to punch Rex off the point here. So first attack going in here, and really solid one. And this is into Mundi, who gets absolutely nothing. So Mundi takes a nap. He goes down. He gets some momentum for that one. That was to be expected, though. That was an 8-die attack going into Mundi, an exposed Mundi, which not much that can be really done about that one there. And I think he reapplies. I can't remember if he reapplies any conditions here or not, but yeah. So there's a pin. But yeah, Riff and the Aqua Droid has that point very much on lockdown at the moment. Very, very tricky to take it back. So, and then into Rex here, and this is a Riptide attack, I believe. And then Rex happens to get a decent defense roll. He blocks 3, but the Aqua still gets a bunch through. It's not enough to take Rex down, but it is enough to hurt him and push him off the point, allowing him to secure the priority point, in which we just keep kind of doing the trade back and forth here. So he's just kind of taking a look at his options here, realizing it's got to be the pushes. 2 pushes is enough to get Rex right off the point. And get a disarm on him. But yeah, scores him up, gets some momentum. Still on my side of the board though, but the Aqua Droids do go away. So once again, it is that back point. Very, very important back point there. And at this point, I'm mulling whether or not I want to pull, because it's either the 501st or the Wolfpack at this point, or I can grab Shakti. So we end up going with Shakti because we use her ability to get Rex back on the point, and Shakti will just jump on down there. And what we're going to do is we are just going to attempt to get a wound in on the B1s here, just to make them a little bit worse. Because there's not really a whole lot we can do here, and Shakti is going to be leaving the table at the end of this activation, because unfortunately she has taken 2 wounds at this point. So we just throw 7 dice into them, and even with a whole bunch of fails, fortunately, I am still able to get, I believe, 2 successes. Oh, 3 successes, because Oh no, I don't turn that one into a crit. I don't turn it into a crit because I don't have the force to do it. So we just get rid of that. 2 successes, which is enough to take out the B1s there, just to give me some extra little bit of momentum, speed things up a little bit, and also just kind of displace them a tiny bit. So like they're out of position, they're condition stacked, they're not having a great day at this particular juncture, and Shakti is done for the game. Very, very good set of activations that Shakti had this game. She had 3 very solid activations. Can't really complain about that. She just gets work done. We get a momentum for that, and I end up scoring 3. He puts the point back over to the center here, and he ends up with Grievous, which this is just a great pull here. Now, thankfully, out of all the characters I have, Kit Fisto is the one who's probably best equipped to maybe survive, because I am just getting an automatic 2 blocks from my Shicho stance here. But this is a scary thing. So Grievous just scuttles on over, which allows him to focus, and I can't remember if he gets to Riptide here. I don't think he has any characters within range for the Riptide, which is definitely in my benefit here, because it's less dice. I'm rolling 6 dice with Kit Fisto, and you can see there though that it looks like a good roll initially until you realize that his expertise is giving him a damage and 2 crits. So even though I am blocking 5 here, like it's just a fantastic defensive roll. Unfortunately, those 4 crits go through, and it is enough to punch through 8 damage onto Kit Fisto. So it is enough to take him down, which I wasn't really banking on. But when you get hit with that many crits there, it's just something that kind of happens. So he's able to do that. He refreshes some force for it, which is excellent for him. He's also going to recover a little bit as well. But the other really important thing here is he's basically going to use his appetite for destruction and basically just strip off all the conditions from the B1s in just a moment here. And that is, it's a little spooky because I worked hard to get all those conditions and get the B1s kind of into a state of not being terribly useful. But in the grand scheme of things, sometimes you just have ways of getting around that sort of shenanigans. Yeah, so here we are. The B1s attempt to dash, and they're going to fail to dash. Then they're basically going to make a 5-die disarmed attack, which gets rid of the strain and gets rid of the disarm, and boom, all the conditions are gone. So when they wake up, they don't have to worry about any of those conditions here. And they're just looking to add some stuff onto Kit here, and Kit just blocks it. Like he unfortunately he did some great defense rolls, but it only works when they roll strikes, as we just saw there. And Grievous is able to take that center point to score out 2. I believe he does challenge the odds as well here, because I believe he has the force to do so. So he ends up getting moving the struggle tracker 3 points and gets some momentum. And then we look back here, and I pull the Wolfpack here, which is basically it's the right pull. It's the pull that I needed to do here, because that's going to allow me to just take back the central point here. And because I'm currently engaged with Grievous with both of them, it gives me a lot of opportunities here. I can basically just focus and punch, which allows me to roll two 9-die attacks here. And Grievous is not in his defensive side. Still blocks a good chunk though. But I'm able to sort of chip through onto Grievous here. And the big thing being is I'm just able to kind of do a little bit of damage, do a little bit of repositioning here. The big thing being is I want to get him pushed up, so that gets that Wolfpack member onto the point, which does give me two guys right there, and then a strain and a pin onto Grievous, which I definitely appreciate, and then a second punch into Grievous there. And once again, very, very decent roll. Now, unfortunately, the damage caps out, so there's not a whole lot that I can do here. So I think I just go about reapplying a bunch of conditions. I did leave a shove angle here for me to get Grievous off the elevation. just in case he was able to move him around again at all. But we were able to take back that center point, which was exactly what we wanted. We do use the climb to sort of like dash around to a better place here, just to secure it a little bit more in my favor. And we end up scoring 3 points, which puts me in danger close range of winning here. Once again, we have the central point being really important. Kalani is the only activation left, which is not what you wanted to see. He almost would have been better off going a little bit earlier and having Grievous go later here. The whole idea is Kalani's just going to try and go over and take this point back from what's his name, from Rex. We're taking a look to see if he can actually hit the ingress point, and it's very close. He might have been able to. Oh yeah. You know what? I think he would have. I think he would have been able to. The big thing is that no matter where he goes, he needs the reposition on his attack to get anywhere of value at this point. So he ends up doing a Riptide attack into Rex here. So really relying on a solid attack here. It's not a bad attack. It's actually pretty good here. Rex happens to block well enough that we get rid of a bunch of successes there. Only allowing 3 successes through, which does not get Kalani to his reposition, which is what he really needed. He really needed that reposition, because he does take Rex down. Rex does take a nap as a part of this, but just stopped him shy of it, which basically is going to... it's going to put Rex a little bit out of position. Not that it really matters in this particular instance, but it doesn't put Kalani on the point, allowing him to take it back. And that's the big deal right there. Alex basically is maxed down his momentum here. And we basically go over to my side. Once again, the center is the important part here. We pull the 5-0 first, and they wake up, and they effectively just take the... they wake up and go and take the back point and score around the board, basically. And that's basically where we leave it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the game. Sorry for the voiceover. We're going to make sure that the audio is back up and working for the next battle report. Hopefully we see you then. So, in the meantime, happy wargaming.